This Arc 3.0 Titan build is one of the strongest and most fun builds I've used in a long time. It is an absolute steamroller of a build and embodies everything that I love about Arc 3.0. It's truly all about moving fast as hell, having unlimited abilities, and making them all hit like a truck. I'm going to show you everything you need to know about Arc 3.0 on Titans, and I'm going to show you an amazing new trick that a lot of people don't know about yet. So if you want to be the ultimate Arc Titan, then stick around because this build can go anywhere from public events to King's Fall. But wait, are you guys seriously still manually capturing clips? Okay, Grandma, let's get you to bed. Outplayed does everything for you. Did you ace the round in your Valorant match? Did you clutch the win in Apex Legends? Outplayed automatically connects to your favorite games and captures all your most epic moments without you even having to think. It's amazing and it's super easy to use, and believe me, I wouldn't say that if I didn't use it myself. It shows me every highlight from every game on a clean timeline that I can snap to instantly. Then I can clip those moments and share it anywhere on social media instantly. It's so convenient for sharing those awesome moments with friends, and the best part is it's completely free. Use my link down in the description to download it today. Big thanks to Outplayed for sponsoring my channel. Now let's get back to the content. Now in that last line I mentioned taking this build into King's Fall, and you absolutely should. I was so amazed with how well it worked within the raid, and anywhere else for that matter. If you have a Well of Radiance Warlock on your team already, you really don't need a Bubble Titan in King's Fall, so instead we can run this build and pump out some serious damage with our grenades and weapons. Before we dive into the subclass, I want to talk about our exotic of choice and what makes this build so unique. We're going to use Heart of Inmost Light. This exotic has seen a ton of love with Titans in the 3.0 subclass system, but Arc 3.0 takes it to a whole new level. Whenever we use any of our abilities, so our grenade, melee, or class ability, we buff the other two and reduce their cooldown. Traditionally, you would drop your barricade first as a way of buffing your melee and grenade to make them do more damage and regen faster. But with Arc 3.0, Titans got access to the new Thruster class ability. This gives up our barricade for a short-range grounded dodge. It has a very short cooldown at 30 seconds that is further reduced by Resilience and Heart of Inmost Light. That's what makes it so amazing. It works with Heart of Inmost Light. Anytime you use your thruster, it's going to buff your grenade and melee damage, and then using those abilities will further reduce the cooldown of thruster, forming a non-stop loop. It really changes the way you can play this class. We never have to stop to put down our barricade and activate Heart of Inmost Light. We can just hold that W key full speed ahead and use our thruster to not only dodge and maneuver easily, but to also increase the damage of our abilities. It really fulfills that Arc 3.0 fantasy. With the right aspects, fragments, and mods, you can turn this build into the perfect hybrid of ad clear and huge single target damage. It's amazing. Taking a look at the subclass, we will of course be taking Thunder Crash. Even without Curus of the Falling Star, it still does great damage, and it's really useful when your friends are trying to troll you in the raid. You can swap to Curus if you need that extra boss damage, but we can absolutely make up for that lack of super damage later. We of course will use the Thruster class ability. This makes the build so much fun and really plays into the movement and speed of Arc 3.0. You can absolutely use the barricade if needed in harder content, so don't be afraid to switch, but I highly recommend playing with Thruster because it's just so much fun. For our melee, you can really choose whatever you prefer. I've been using Shoulder Charge as it does offer that added blinding functionality while we are amplified, and we're almost always amplified with this build. It also plays into the mobility of the build itself as a great movement tool. Thunderclap and Ballistic Slam are great as well, so use whatever you like here. We absolutely have to be running Pulse Grenade. When we pair this grenade with the Touch of Thunder aspect, it makes our pulse grenades deal more damage with every tick, and they create ionic traces which will feed into our ability cooldowns. Combined with some of our fragments below, these grenades will last a really long time and deal amazing damage when buffed by Heart of Inmost Light. Next we will take Knockout. Whenever we break a shield or critically wound a target, this will infuse our melee attack with additional arc damage and increase our lunge range. This works for both our charged and uncharged melee abilities, and any melee kill we get will start health regeneration and make us amplified. Moving on to our fragments, the first one we need is Spark of Magnitude. This makes our pulse grenades last longer. This ends up making them tick for up to 9 times, dealing huge damage thanks to Touch of Thunder and Heart of Inmost Light. Next we take Spark of Shock, which makes our grenades apply jolt, adding chain lightning capabilities and some additional damage to our grenade. Our third fragment will depend on your loadout. If you are using an arc special weapon, such as Forbearance or Delicate Tomb, we can take Spark of Beacons, which will make our arc special weapons cause a blinding explosion when we are amplified. If you are using an arc primary, such as Ikelos SMG, then you can swap to Spark of Recharge, which will improve our cooldowns when we are critically wounded. And finally, we will take Spark of Discharge, which makes our arc weapons have a chance to create ionic traces as well. This subclass will allow you to run and gun against huge groups of enemies and use your abilities to clear them out, and then at a moment's notice switch over to single target boss damage without missing a beat. And let's take a look at our weapon loadouts. If I'm running King's Fall or high tier content, I am using Arbalist in my kinetic slot, an Arc SMG or any Arc primary, and a good linear fusion for my heavy. If I'm doing some more general content, we can swap to an Arc special weapon like Forbearance or Delicate Tomb, and remember those special weapons can blind with the right fragments. Then I would use something like Hothead or any arc heavy weapon. There's plenty of room to experiment with your loadout here. Moving on to our mods, this will all revolve around getting our abilities back even quicker. We will take Elemental Ordnance and Melee Wellmaker. This will allow our grenade and melee abilities to generate arc elemental wells. If you don't have either of these, you could also use Elemental Armaments to make our weapons generate arc wells. We pair those mods with Bountiful Wells, which will make a duplicate arc well whenever we create one. Next, we will take Seeking Wells, which will cause all of our wells to pull towards us. This works great alongside the Ionic Traces, since they will both now gravitate to us without us even having to think. Next, we will take either Well of Ions, which will buff our melee damage, or Font of Might, which will buff our weapon damage. The choice is yours. And finally, from our seasonal artifact, we will take Lightning Strikes twice. The buff from this mod greatly reduces our grenade cooldown, and it can be refreshed and extended with every arc final blow, even from weapons. It gives us huge uptime on our grenades for damage. For our stats, you will want to aim for 100 Discipline first, and then 100 Resilience. This will give us the lowest cooldowns on our grenade and thruster ability to take advantage of Heart of Inmost Light as often as possible. Once Resilience is fixed for Arc Titans, it will also give a 40% damage reduction at all times. I highly encourage you to use the new thruster ability. It's more than just a gimmick. I genuinely use it in the raid. During Golgoroth, for example, you can move from puddle to puddle using just your thruster, and you buff your abilities in the process. It's a fantastic movement tool, and having it loop into our other abilities creates one of the most fun playstyles I've used in Destiny in a long time. I really hope you enjoy the build and give it a shot. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below and use the dim link in the description to get this set up easily. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.